Hello, I'm Talia. I'm a member of the Living Council and I wanted to just throw a quick message in here to say hi and maybe just give you a little bit of perspective as to what the remedy route is all about and to see whether this is something for you or maybe it's not. But gosh, I would just absolutely hate it if we went all the way through the tour with all the different locations around Australia and you found out about it later and you lived in regret that you weren't there. And so in order to avoid that, I'm putting this little message together here for you to give you some information as to what's going to be involved, why would you come, and who it's beneficial for. So if you can hang with me for a couple of minutes, and I'll give you a bit of insight so then you can make the decision based on what's best for you and for your family. Firstly, I am a member of the Living Council, and the Living Council is an organisation, a group all around Australia of just living men and women just like you and just like me, who really are just looking at ways to live their lives in quiet peace and just be not disturbed by those that want to harass us or cause a bit of trouble. And to do that, we actually meet once a week and we chat through different concepts and ideas, and we try and encourage and spur each other on towards living quiet, peaceful lives without being a doormat for those who maybe are in different positions to us. And the way we do that is through Zoom or online gatherings or in a forum. So we chat online and we have all these different topics that we discuss, things from, what do we do with trust? How do we cope with local councils? What happens when we want to vote? All these different topics that are really, really prevalent to what's going on in our lives today in Australia. And so we have a forum where we discuss those. We also have an online course and we run that through different modules, teaching things such as trust law, such as private, living in the private through an unincorporated association or a PMA. We also do things such as what do you do with smart meters? How does it work when you're going into contract with different organisations or man-to-man or all that kind of stuff that you and I are being really forced to learn about. And we try and simplify that so it's in a step-by-step process so that you can follow through and you can go, yeah, I'll take that or I won't take that, and you can step-by-step navigate through this complicated world that we live in now. So that is a group that runs just online, and it's a group that we sometimes get together, we might have a picnic or whatever, but it really is just an online presence, and it's an awesome group. It's a great feeling. It's a good community. We're all about positivity. It's not about looking at all the dark things you can find on Telegram or Rumble, but it's really looking at solutions and what we can do to move forward. What we found is that it was really hard to be able to learn everything and to gain some momentum. So as a group, we decided that we would put on face-to-face live functions for people within the Living Council to meet and be able to do probably about 6 months worth of research in one day by just setting aside some time and meeting together, and we have a whole teaching program set up. And that's how the remedy route came about. We decided that we wanted to meet face-to-face and teach people what we can learn in our online program, but in person. And so we come together for a whole day, and in the remedy route, it's about lots of communication, lots of discussion, a bit of a workbook. We have different topics that we're discussing, such as contract law. What is the straw man actually? How do you sign things? What is trust law? Exactly which jurisdiction do I belong in different situations? And really getting that clarity around what all of this mess is that we're in. And so we teach that through a very simplified way. And one of the things that I love to do, this is my gift personally, because there's lots of people who have different gifts and strengths within the Living Council. But for me, what I love to do is make very, very, very complex topics super simple. You can have a professor and they take a very simple topic and make it very complicated. And then you've got just a plain old teacher like me, and we take big complex ideas and try and dumb it down to be something that's very simple, very usable, and something that you and I can actually put into place in our lives. And so we're taking topics like contract law, trust law, jurisdictions, straw man, and all those kind of things that finance, how does the Australian tender work? all those topics that you and I have wrestled with for so long and have maybe just come to light on exactly how much control there is in this country and what exactly could we do in our own personal lives, within our own families, to come out from that mess and maybe live a more quiet, peaceful life directed the way that you want it to be directed. So the way that I've explained the remedy route is kind of like, you know, when you go to a concert and you listen to a song, it's very different to when you're at home and you listen to a CD. Same song, different environment. Why is it different? Well, when you're at a concert, when you're at home, you're listening to a CD, and it's a beautiful song, and you can really feel it, and you can turn it up nice and loud. But when you're at a concert, you've got the whole environment. You can feel the drums in your chest. You can smell the guy next to you. You feel and you see the presence from stage. You see it, and it's just like all-encompassing. And what happens is you have a memory, and it goes into your core. It's who you are, and it's exciting. And it creates just something a little bit different for you, and there's a change within you when you go to a concert as opposed to listening to a CD. Well, the CD is like the Living Council online. That's the CD. You know, you can press play, you can fast forward, you can go through the different modules and the lessons, and you can go to all the different links and then rewind and go back to the links, and that's a CD. And it's great, and it gives you what you need. Same content, different environment is the remedy route. So the remedy route is a live event where you're interacting with other living men and women in your area, and you get to see the speaker. You can even speak to the speaker, and you can ask questions, and they can help you, reconcile with whatever it is that you're struggling with yourself. It's not a huge room like a concert with like hundreds or even thousands of people. No, we're only after 20 to 30 people who are in a space coming together and really wrestling with these kind of concepts. And one other thing that I want to mention is so many people go through this journey of who am I and what's my sovereignty and where does these organisations or governments come into play, and how do I live in this country so that I'm able to live in peace and go about my business without causing too much strife or hazard or whatever. And one of the things that we've noticed is that you can have this absolute confidence and you can go, yep, I'm going to, do a bill of exchange, or I'm going to whatever it might be. And then, you change back and you go, oh, I feel a little bit nervous about that, not sure I want to do that anymore, and you just sway backwards and forwards and backwards and forwards. That's like a physical change, like ice to water, and then you can go back to being ice, and then you can go back to being water, and that's just a physical kind of change. But what happens when you have a chemical change is you completely change and you can't revert back. Like wood being burned and turns to ash. Well, ash can't go back to being wood, can it? And so the remedy route is about a chemical change. It's about me knowing deep down in my core who I am and what I can do, and having a real sense of confidence and a real sense of I know, and not reverting back to maybe feeling a little bit scared or nervous, although we are, living men and women and we go through those emotions. But our goal is that you would be able to have that confidence, that sui juris, come deep inside of you so that you feel like you're able to move forward in your life with confidence, knowing the things you need to know, knowing how to handle the offers that come in your letterbox, or knowing how to drive or travel in this world the way that we do. So anyway, that's just a little bit of a nutshell. It goes for about 8 hours. There'll be 20-30 people there, and it's designed really for you. And it's not something that we're going to go, and the next conference is this, and upsell. None of that, because I'm not into that. We're not into it. We're just people who want to come together and look at ways of supporting each other. Out of the remedy route, what we're focusing on as the Living Council is really about community, because at the end of the day, we need each other, don't we? We just really need each other to be able to lean on each other. Maybe I might be having this challenging thing has happened for me in court and I'm not sure what to do with it. And I can go to someone else in the community who understands me, and I'm not so much of a black sheep. And there's a lot of black sheep out there, and I can be part of a community of black sheep. And we can support each other. And it might be with common law kind of things, or it might even just be in terms of health or sports or whatever it is. But it's about finding people who are like-minded to us and being able to stick together and support each other through this wonderful thing we call life in Australia. So I'll definitely be at the Remedy Route. I'll be at all 11 locations. We're going all over Australia. We did it by expressions of interest, and we asked people, where would you like us to go? And 11 locations became apparent to us. So I'll be there, Katie will be there, a couple of other members from the Living Council will be there. And if it's for you, I hope that you'll be there, and I hope that you'll get something out of it. I really do think you will. We've already had one, and gosh, Melbourne was an absolute hit. We've had people come out of that function and they said, oh man, I could have stayed for a whole week learning the things that I've learned. And others who were like, man, I'm carrying my brain out in a paper bag. That is so much information. But what I value is that I can go back to the workbooks, I can go back to the questions that I answered on the day, and I can see where I stand. And I can also continue to build in relationship with those that I met with. So I hope that that's going to be your experience as well. If you have any questions, you can always ask this. What happens here is you just go into the link down below and you fill in a form, and it'll just ask us some of the dietary things. Are you lactose free? Are you, where are you gluten free? And we just want to make sure that we can cater for you on the day. And if you've got any other questions that you want to ask specifically, we can help you with that, and we can talk about that on the day. So you can put that down in the notes, and then it'll go through to a payment page. So a number of people have said, how much is it? Well, it's $500, and I'm not going to go glossing that over, or, oh, it's only this, or it's only a steak knife. Not at all. It's $500, and that might be expensive to you, and it might be expensive to me. The way that I'm viewing it is we have to cover costs of various things like functions and catering and all the different tools, and the people who are involved need to have exchange for their time and what they've learned and put together, and it's taken many, many hours for this to be put together. But it also, if we look at it in a different way, if we can help you to be able to get your head around just one topic, let's just say finance to start with. If we can help you get your head around how money really works in Australia and what options you actually have, then imagine if you could work away at your electricity bill to a point where, do you need to keep paying it? What about your Telstra bill? How do you go into contract with those guys? If we just work on one electricity bill, paying for your ticket to learn the things that you need to learn to be able to address any number of these matters, or if you get a fine for speeding, wouldn't it just be wonderful to have spent a little bit of money, learn the things you need to learn to be able to address all of these things that keep on coming at us, and they're only getting bigger and better. And so it's $500. Like it, don't like it, argue with me, I don't care, but that's what the price is. We do recognise that some people find that a little bit challenging, so we've got an option where you can pay it off. So you can pay $100 a week for 5 weeks, and it's done. And goodness me, it's not $5,000, it's not even $50,000. Although there are people who have come to the Living Council Remedy Route and even to the online program and have said, man, oh man, the things that I have been learning, I would pay 3, 4, 5 times the amount that you're charging. So I'm going to leave it at that. You choose what's right for you. And here's the thing, it needs to be what's right for you. Because at the end of the day, yeah, I'll go on with my life. Other people in the Living Council will go on with their life. We'd love to have you part of it. But this is about you. Where's your family at? If you're feeling like you need to learn some things because this Australia looks really different to what it used to, and it seems that you need to get a few skills under your belt to continue to move forward, leading a quiet and peaceful life, then jump in, give it a go. What have you got to lose? $500 for one day, and one day to set aside to learn the things that you need to learn. I just can't think of a better thing that you could do right now in our current climate. All right, well, thanks for just giving me some of your time, and I look forward to meeting you somewhere around Australia on the Remedy Route. Take care.